Hey guys, what's up? It's Dean. Welcome to ManFlow Yoga. It's Wednesday, it's 12 p.m. Central Time, which means I'm here to do a live workout recording with you. So today's topic is relieving lower back pain. So I'm going to show you the best postures, the best exercises that I know of for quickly getting rid of back pain. So, and by the way, since I'd like to know where you guys are, and if you'd like to come to an upcoming workshop, go ahead and leave the city of your choice, maybe where you're from, or where you'd like to, or where you'd be willing to visit to come see me in person for a workshop. Leave that comment, leave your desired city in the comments here. And if you're watching this later on and it's not live, please still leave your comments. I will read them later. And then lastly, we're doing a workshop in Cleveland on November 23rd, I think. So it's that Friday after Thanksgiving, so it's Black Friday. It'll be in downtown Cleveland. So if you're in Cleveland or if you're in the Ohio area, I'd love to see you there. It's free for members of the ManFlow Yoga members area, and I think it's just $15 for everybody else. Yeah, learn more about that on my blog at manflowyoga.com/blog. So let's get into these exercises. So before I start, I will tell you what's the process behind how these exercises work. So back pain is caused by four things in particular. It's caused by a lack of hip mobility, a lack of hip strength, a lack of spinal mobility, and I'd say a lack of core strength. So you want exercises that are going to address all of that. Now that's kind of your long-term solution, but for the short-term solution, we're going to work on stretching the muscles that connect to your lower back. So working mostly on your hip and the muscles that connect to your spine. That's going to help relieve lower back pain. But we're also going to engage the opposing muscle groups. So when you have pain in your lower back, we're actually going to work on engaging the muscles in the front of your lower back, which is your core. So we're going to work on some ab exercises. A lot of people think that lower back pain, the best thing they can do for it is stretching, and that actually helps to aggravate it even worse. So you don't want to just stretch your lower back when you have back pain. You actually want to do some strengthening, and you want to address the areas that connect to your lower back. So here we go. Kai's going to help me. So first thing I have people do usually if their back is hurt, I'm just going to have you lie down on your back, and we're going to do a lot of exercises from this position. Number one, because it makes it really easy for you to avoid doing anything weird with your back. It's also a good position from which to do ab exercises, and it also helps get your spine in a nice neutral position. So first thing you're going to do here is just bring your knees, just kind of grab your knees, pull them toward your shoulders, keep your lower back flat on the ground, and tighten your abs. So we're just going to kind of grab the knees, pull them in tight toward your shoulders, and just roll kind of from side to side. Okay, and this is the first thing. And what we're doing here is starting to engage your core. We're starting to stretch your hips a little bit. We're also engaging your hip flexors. So by turning on those muscles, that's going to help take pressure out of the lower back. So part of it's stretching the muscles, and part of it is strengthening the muscles that connect to your lower back and are your lower back. All right, and then from here, we're gonna do a twist. So we're gonna open up the vertebra in your lower back. So I'm gonna just have you come into a reclined twist, bring your legs over to the right, bring your right hand on top of your left knee, tighten your left rib cage, and press the back of your left shoulder to the ground. So you're just gonna hold this for about 30 seconds. And as you're doing this, breathe as deeply as you can, in through the nose, out through the nose. And again, you want to stay active through your core. So we're not splaying open our ribs here. We're not lifting up our chest and getting really big through our chest. We're actually drawing that down, tightening the ribs and tightening the core. And then we're going to switch sides. So bringing your legs over to the left now. Bringing your left hand on top of your right knee, squeezing that right shoulder to the ground. And if you want to get a little bit more of a twist through your neck, maybe your neck hurts, you can look over to the right. So if my legs are over to the left, I'm looking in the opposite direction. And again, pulling down through my ribs, tightening my abs, pressing my right hand pressing my left hand into my right thigh, and my right thigh back up into my hand. And then a minimum of 30 seconds there. You can go up to 60 seconds. All right, and then bringing that back to the middle. So we've got some strengthening. Other thing I like to do here is hands to thighs. And this helps to engage your transverse abdominals, which are usually a really inactive or a weak muscle group with people with back pain. So for this, all you're going to do is push your hands into your thighs and press your thighs back into your hands. And what this is working is, again, your transverse abdominals. So those are the deeper layer of your abdominal muscle. Those are below your six-pack muscles or your rectus abdominis. So again, hands pushing into your thighs push back into your hands, and you should feel, again, that deeper layer of abdominal muscle engaging. And you can do this for 30 seconds, maybe up to 60 seconds. If it's too intense to really push really hard, then just ease up on the intensity. And this is a really nice one because, again, it's really active. All right, and then release that. One other thing I like doing here is adding in a hamstring stretch and alternating legs. So easy way to do this is single knee to chest. All right, so we're just going to bring one leg in, bring the other leg out, hover it about 3 or 4 inches off the ground, and then switch sides. So this is a really nice, easy, restorative way to relieve back pain. So just one leg in at a time, just kind of hugging your knee in toward your armpit, and then switching sides. I know, Kyle. What I also like to do here, though, is one leg at a time. Press both hands into your thigh, whichever leg is coming back. Keep the other leg extended, and then straighten the bent leg until you feel a stretch through your hamstrings, right through the back of your right thigh, whichever leg is bent. Bring it back down, and then switch sides. Press the hands into the thigh, extend your leg up, feel that stretch through the hamstrings, and then keep switching. Now what this does is it engages your core, right? So again, it's taking the pressure out of your lower back and strengthening your core instead, or just engaging those muscles. And it's also stretching your hamstrings, which when those muscles are tight, that can cause chronic lower back pain. So if you have lower back pain, there's probably a 90%, I would say, certainty that you have tight hamstrings. And so again, I'm just going to spend about a minute just kind of switching from side to side here. Now that's a little bit more intense, so maybe you don't do that one. Next thing we're going to do, and this might, depending on how your back feels, this might hurt your back, it might feel good, but this is definitely going to counter what causes lower back pain, which is sitting or poor posture. So I'm going to have you plant your feet, and we're doing a bridge, but we're doing it differently from the way that most yoga teachers teach bridge. Most yoga teachers will instruct bridge and focus on arching your back. What I want you to focus on with bridge is engaging your posterior chain in your lower body. So we're focusing on your hamstrings, we're focusing on your glutes. We're not focusing on opening up the ribs and getting as big as we can through the chest. We want to focus on squeezing your heels toward your shoulders, kind of like you're pulling your shoulders down toward your feet, engaging your hamstrings, and then slowly using your hamstrings and your glutes, start to lift your hips. So now we're strengthening your hamstrings and your glutes, and that's going to help relieve pressure on the lower back because lower back pain can be caused by not using your glutes. We're also squeezing the legs toward one another, which is engaging your adductors, and that helps to engage your core as well. So we're turning on the abs, the adductors, your hamstrings, your glutes. And this one you would hold for minimum of 30 seconds and maybe up to 60 seconds. So what we're not doing here, and this is what I see a lot of, is just this arching of your back here, like lifting up like this, not using your glutes at all. I've actually heard a lot of yoga instructors say, just totally relax your glutes here, which is bullshit. If you're doing this exercise, you should be engaging your glutes. It's just natural. It's how your body works. To disengage your glutes is unnatural. So again, tighten your abs, don't overly arch your back, keep your spine neutral, keep your chest neutral. Your lower back is going to be in extension, it will be arched. All right, and then releasing down. And then another easy one is glute tightness. So we're gonna do a figure 4, and I'm actually gonna use a wall for this. So I'm gonna plant one foot against the wall, like so, and then my knee is right above my hip, so my femur is parallel to the wall.
And then I'm just gonna cross one leg over and then work on this external rotation of my hip here, of my right hip, whichever leg is crossed over the other. And that's gonna help stretch my glutes. And that is also a really big cause of lower back pain. So that, what do you call it? Sorry. So stretching that muscle helps to relieve pressure on the lower back. Again, a lot of back pain is caused by just hip tightness. Some of it is caused by muscle inactivity. So kind of so far I've shown you a combination of exercises. And then go ahead and switch sides. Cross the left leg over the right leg now. Open up through your left hip. So we're externally rotating the hip. So your inner left thigh faces back toward you. Your outer left thigh faces away from you. You're not just pulling your knee in toward your chest. That's not going to do much. We actually want to open up the hip. And again, 30 seconds, maybe 45, maybe 60 seconds as well, but a minimum of 30 seconds. You also want to make sure you're reaching your toes back toward your shin, and that's going to help you protect the knee there. All right, and then go ahead and release. And those are the easiest ways to relieve lower back pain, and those are easy stretches. So again, it's all on your back. You don't really have to do, there's not a lot of coordination required, there's not a lot of physical fitness level required, but those poses are equally effective for people who are really active and people who aren't that active. I actually have a routine called, it's called 7-minute back pain relief, something along those lines. It's free, it's on my website. It's actually part of my Bulletproof Your Back program, which is a really cool program I developed with physical therapists at Texas Physical Therapy Specialists here in Austin, Texas. Actually, they're all over Texas. But I developed this program with them to use with their patients. And so these are really easy, simple yoga exercises or yoga flows that are as short as 7 minutes, 10 minutes, and you can fix your lower back pain in just 10 to 20 minutes a day. The entire first phase of that program is free on my website at manfulyoga.com/bulletproof-your-back. And I'll put the link in the description here so you'll be able to check that out. And again, just to recap those exercises that we did, so I'm gonna go through those with you one more time, and then if you have any questions, leave me your questions, leave me your comments, and I'll answer them at the end of this. So first thing we did was just bringing knees in toward your shoulders, and then just kind of lightly rolling from side to side. From there, we moved into a reclined twist. So bringing your legs to one side, bringing your arms to the other side, and then looking over. So this is stretching and creating space in your lower back. We did that to both sides, so make sure you do it to both sides. Don't just do it to one side. From there, we did hands to thighs. Right, so we pushed our hands into our thighs, and that helps to turn on transverse abdominals. It also helps to turn on your hip flexors. From here, we did our single leg knee to chest, and this is just a really nice stretch. Maybe a little bit of core involved, but mostly stretching. And then from here, we did the hands to thigh and leg extension. Right, so we went from hands to thigh, like a single leg, similar to what we did with both legs, but just one leg and one leg out. And then extending that leg up, stretching the hamstrings, stretching the back of the thigh, and then switching sides. All right, so doing this for about 30 seconds or a minute. From there, we also did our bridge, right? And this is focused on engaging your glutes and your hamstrings, taking the pressure out of your lower back, strengthening your hips. It's also a nice stretch for your hip flexors. Once you start to get up kind of higher into this, you should feel stretching through the front of your torso. After this, we did our reclined figure four, right? So that's on a wall. I'd recommend doing it on the wall. It's just way easier. It feels better. You can keep your head relaxed, but you can also do it away from the wall just by grabbing the back of whichever leg is not stretching. So you can do this as well. And that's pretty much it. So again, lots of really effective exercises. Again, all of them are really easy to do, and almost all these exercises are part of my Bulletproof Your Back program. You can check that out for free on my website at manfulyoga.com/bulletproof-your-back. And I'm just going to answer questions now, since you might have some questions. Cool.
Suggestions for hip flexor strain.
Hip flexor strain. So you're going to want to do those hand to thigh pressing that I did. But you want to do it really lightly. So when your muscle is strained, you definitely don't want to stretch it.
So that's a big issue that a lot of people make. So if they tear their hamstring or they tear their hip flexor, they think that stretching it is the best thing to do, right? Because the muscle is shortened, it is torn and shortened, it's protected itself. So you think that stretching it is the best thing to do. In actuality, you want to strengthen it. So do exercises that aren't too strenuous. You don't want to do something where it's really hurting, but you do want to keep that muscle active. You do want to keep circulation going to that muscle. So I would recommend just doing some light hand pressing into your thigh like this, like we did on the ground for that one of those first exercises. So just like that, and that's going to help.
Might be redundant, but Palacio injured his back and can't twist or lift things.
Yeah.
Is there any exercise or yoga positions I can do now that I'm hurt?
If your back is hurt, the only thing that I would do is I would do just really light core exercises on your back. So I would only do something like this. I would keep your back flat on the ground. So I would do things that are entirely supine. And I would, if you can't twist your back, then obviously you're not going to twist it all. But maybe you can do just basic exercises like I showed you, like these basic stretches. Unfortunately, if you injured your lower back, it's just going to take some time to recover. You do want to stay active though, so you do want to keep doing core strengthening exercise. You want to figure out what you can do that doesn't hurt. I would also say that you can work on balance. Just figure out what doesn't hurt, and you can do that. But if it does hurt, then you don't want to do it. And the way that you can tell is if you do an exercise and you feel like a sharp pain, you should avoid it. And if you feel a pain and if you do an exercise and there's some discomfort, but you don't feel extra sore the next day, or you don't feel like you're in more pain the next day, then that's an exercise that you can do. But if you do an exercise and the day afterward you feel worse, then that's something that I would avoid, or I would modify it somehow so it's not as intense.
Little off topic, but some exercise for rotator cuff. Shoulder rotator cuff?
Yeah, rotator cuff, you want to work on your shoulder mobility and you want to work on your upper back strength. So I would do lat pull downs, I would do rows, so I would just do horizontal and vertical rows, so a lat pull down and just basically a row. There's also, I'm trying to remember what the name of it's called, but there's external and internal rotation shoulder exercises that look like this. So you're working on internal rotation, and then you're working on your external rotation. So there's they're very, very universal exercises, and that's what you want to do to strengthen your rotator cuff. It also means that you probably, the rotator cuff injury was probably caused by something in the first place. So you also want to make sure that as you get back into what you enjoy doing, that you continue to do pulling exercises. There's a lot of rotator cuff injuries in yoga because it doesn't do anything for your back. It's all pushing, no pulling. So you need to make sure that if you're doing a yoga only program, that you are incorporating pulling exercises somehow into what you do on a weekly basis. And we actually have all these pulling exercises organized on our website in the exercise tutorials and more section in the members area. So if you're a member, you can check out all of those video tutorials and get recommendations on how to incorporate them into your training routine. More info on that on manflowyoga.com/7-day-trial. Cool. All right, guys. Oh yeah. Also, video blog post coming soon? Question. Mm-hmm. All right. So other stuff. I just did a keynote speech this past weekend at a health conference. If you have any issues with motivation, with sticking to your workout plan, or maybe you have issues with starting and sticking to a program, maybe you get like a couple months in and then you give up. I highly recommend checking out this keynote speech. It's all about how to live and enjoy a healthy lifestyle. The full title is How to Create a Healthy Lifestyle That is Self-Driven, Sustainable, and Enjoyable. It's a really well put together presentation. It's free on YouTube. It's also in the members area in full HD quality. And we have we broadcasted it on YouTube as well. So you can check that out. youtube.com/manflowyoga. If you're not already there, highly recommend you subscribe. We put out content there that you won't see anywhere else. And if you're on Instagram and Facebook, I recommend that you subscribe there as well. Because again, we put different content out on each of these channels. So you're missing out if you're not on all of them. And that's it. So I'll put the links for Bulletproof Your Back in the description here. More info on the 7-day trial and Manful Yoga members area. We actually are currently closed for enrollment, but we do have periods of open enrollment every now and then. So just make sure you're on the email list, and you'll be able to be the first person to know when those open enrollment periods are happening. And yeah, that should be good. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Again, every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Central Time. Next week we're going to be covering exercises to relieve shoulder pain. So if that's you, come join me next week. All right, guys. See you later.